When we look up at the night sky, we see a small red dot. For centuries, humans have stared at it and imagined something hopeful. A new home, a second Earth, a backup plan for humanity. But if you strip away the dreams, the rockets, and the science fiction, the reality of Mars is much darker. Mars is not a fresh beginning, it is a planetary graveyard. A fossil in space. A world that shows us what happens when a planet loses everything. Welcome to the Red Planet. There's a reason ancient civilizations named this world after the god of war. Its color is the color of blood, but it is not blood. It is rust. Iron oxide covers almost the entire surface. A cold, dusty wasteland stained red by a chemical reaction, and rust tells a story. Rust only forms when iron meets oxygen and water. That means billions of years ago, Mars was not red. It was blue. It had rivers that carved valleys, oceans that stretched across its surface, clouds drifting through a thick atmosphere. It may have even had the basic ingredients for life. Mars was once alive, so what killed it? Deep inside Earth, molten metal moves like a beating heart. That motion creates a magnetic field, an invisible shield protecting us from the sun's deadly radiation. Mars had one too, but its heart stopped when its magnetic field collapsed. The solar wind, a constant stream of charged particles from the sun, began stripping the planet bare. Slowly, over millions of years, the atmosphere was torn away, the water evaporated, the warmth disappeared. What was once a living world turned into a frozen desert. Mars is not just empty, it is what remains after a planet dies. Imagine standing on its surface. The sky would not be blue. It would be a pale, dusty orange. The air around you would feel almost non-existent. The atmosphere is nearly 100 times thinner than Earth's, and it is made mostly of carbon dioxide. There is nothing to breathe. But suffocation would not be the only danger. The pressure is so low that without a spacesuit, the moisture in your eyes and lungs would begin to boil. Not because it is hot, but because the air is too thin to hold it in liquid form. Mars would not welcome you. It would destroy you, and then there is the silence. Sound needs air to travel. On Mars, the air is so thin that noise barely carries. If you shouted at someone just a few meters away, they might not hear you clearly. Imagine standing in an open desert where even your own voice feels distant. No wind howling, no birds, no oceans. Just a faint whisper of dust moving across dead ground. It is not just quiet, it is unnaturally silent. On Earth, we live under the protection of a magnetic shield. It deflects harmful cosmic rays and solar radiation. Mars has no such protection. The surface is constantly bombarded by radiation from space. An astronaut spending time there would be exposed to levels far beyond what we experience on Earth. To survive long-term, humans would not walk freely under the Martian sky. We would hide inside underground caves, inside lava tubes, beneath layers of soil. We would not be pioneers exploring a new frontier. We would be sheltering from it. And then there's the dust. Mars is famous for its dust storms, but these are not ordinary storms. They can grow so massive that they swallow the entire planet, for weeks, sometimes months. The sun disappears behind a global haze. Solar panels stop working. Temperatures drop. Communication becomes difficult. Imagine being trapped millions of kilometers from Earth inside a small habitat, listening to dust scrape against the walls in endless darkness. And that dust is not harmless. It contains perchlorates, toxic chemicals that can interfere with human biology. Even the soil itself is hostile. Mars does not just lack life. It resists it. Yet, despite all this, we keep sending machines there. Rovers crawl across its surface, drilling into ancient rocks, searching for signs of a lost past. Some of them are still active. Others remain frozen where they fell silent. Metal explorers scattered across red plains, a robotic graveyard. They are monuments to our curiosity and reminders of how difficult this world truly is. People talk about terraforming Mars, warming it, thickening the atmosphere, turning it green. But perhaps we are asking the wrong question. Maybe Mars is not meant to become Earth. Maybe it exists to remind us how rare Earth is. Mars is a mirror. It shows us that oceans can vanish, that atmospheres can be stripped away, that a world can go from blue to red, from living to silent. Mars is fascinating. It is beautiful in its own cold, desolate way. It is a treasure trove of science and discovery, but it is not a backup plan. It is a warning. Because when you look at that red dot in the sky, You are not looking at humanity's future. You are looking at a possible fate. And suddenly, this chaotic, noisy, imperfect blue world we call home feels far more precious than ever before. Mars is not a second Earth. It is what happens when Earth loses its shield, its air, its life. The red planet is not a promise. It is a lesson. And we would be wise to listen.